This is Karina, and I'm presenting on a paper written by David B. Kopel. The paper is called Reforming Mental Health Law to Protect Public Safety and Help the Severely Mentally Ill. And I'm comparing it to this article, Facts About Mental Illness and Crime, which was published on the Washington Post but was also written by David Kopel. I'm not sure how that works, but considering that David Kopel wrote both the original article and the summary article, there's not much discrepancy between the facts and nuances presented in both. So I'm just going to really critique the content. David B. Kopel is the research editor at the Independence Institute, which is funded in part by the NRA, and Kopel himself is an NRA certified safety instructor. And these are facts to keep in mind when inferring the legal practices that can stem from this work, because he's trying to protect Second Amendment rights while also reducing crime, and he believes that mentally ill people are more prone to committing crimes. So some highlights from his work. As you can see, he has a bunch of bullet points here. I'd like to highlight a few. He says that the threat of mentally ill persons is exacerbated by substance abuse and unemployment. These are two risk factors that I believe can be generalized to the general public. And if you're unemployed, have a lack of income, might lead to violent crimes such as armed robberies. And then substance abuse, if you're out of control of your person due to substances, that can lead to criminal activity as well. So I don't think that just applies to mentally ill persons. He says that untreated severe mental illness is significant in homicides and mass murders. I'm not sure where his data comes from. And he says severe mental illness when we see the different types of people who have committed mass shootings in the United States in the past few months. I don't think they would be considered severely mentally ill. Perhaps they have some depression, perhaps they have bipolar disorder, but it is being treated. And so I'm not sure where the correlation lies in this statement. Also, he says that mental hospital capacity has dwindled in the past 50 years. He does not clarify it's because there have been many budget cuts to these places because it is expensive to house and treat a mentally ill person. It's more cost effective to throw them into prison. And he also says that involuntary commitment is necessary when the person presents a danger to themselves or others, even if that danger is not imminent. So even if you have just a sneaking suspicion that someone could become violent and they are mentally ill, they can and will be involuntarily committed. He says this, but then he says that due process should be protected, but anything that is involuntary just kind of goes against any sort of due process that could happen. And then his final bullet point was that mass murders can be prevented if people report their suspicions of dangerous mentally ill persons. In his defense, he wrote this in 2015. This was before the Parkland shooting, before we found out that those students did report the shooter and they were scared that he would do something, and nothing happened. In my criminology class, they said, my professor told us that it's difficult to infringe on a person's personal rights even if they are mentally ill. So that involuntary commitment that he is supporting just isn't feasible in the present day if we are trying to protect individual rights, especially of the mentally ill, because they are taken advantage of, and they're a vulnerable population. And that's it for today. Thank you.